my God. If there's a million people listening to this, I can't. My faith in humanity is gone. Good God, you're gonna smell like terrible rotten eggs? Oh my God. Okay, so she at least did address you still need to wash, because that's what I was like. You're wearing a bathing suit and you can't point the water at your genitals. You gotta wash that stuff, you know? How helpless must you be if the only way to deal with your thought or your desire is to smell some dog shit?
It's such
Oh,
bad
God,
advice,
that's
honestly.
probably that might be the worst I've heard. Boy,
Let's
she should be banned.
Hello, my name is Tom, and I'm joined here by Mary Pullis. I listen to a lot of porn addiction recovery advice on YouTube, and it kept me stuck in a state of helplessness, confusion, and really, I was just going around in complete circles without any real guidance or any real solution on how to overcome this problem correctly. Now, what I want to do in this video is expose more of the bullshit online that's probably keeping you stuck as well in the same loop that I was once caught up in. So welcome on the podcast, Mary. You've watched a bit of this woman's video today as well, right? It's pretty insane. So we're going to be dissecting, analysing it a little bit further, and we'll be pointing out why specific thought patterns, certain beliefs can actually really keep people stuck in that horrible, painful porn hell cycle. All right,
Yeah,
let's get straight into the first video. It's all right with you, Mary?
sure is.
What are your vulnerabilities? What makes you more likely to start thinking about or start craving viewing pornography or masturbation? What is it for you? And then what triggers it? Obviously, triggers you need to address on a case-by-case basis. For some people, it's just being in front of a computer. For other people, it's times of day. For other people, it's certain emotions, like they start feeling angry or anxious, and watching porn helps them escape. Knowing what your triggers are and starting to address them is going to be really important.
Right, Mary, why shouldn't we identify these triggers then?
Okay, but just first thing is like these people, they present like this is some new revolutionary information when they are just literally saying the same shit over and over and over. But they say it in a way like, I've got this information for you that is like gonna blow your mind. And I'm like, oh wait, okay, same thing, same bullshit, different video. It's like, okay, same thing, triggers. Do you identify your triggers? And there, whatever she said. But the other part of her video, she said that only four in 100 guys, was that what she said? No, 25. I don't know. The statistics on people that actually had an issue with porn addiction seemed extremely low. With what did she say 1 in 4 or 1 in?
I
I
don't
don't
know. I
know.
can't remember that part. But do you want
Yeah.
to explain why removing triggers is a really bad strategy for overcoming this problem?
Well, because your triggers are wired into your brain. Okay, so we'll give you a lobotomy. That the only way you could like really effectively remove triggers, like really remove triggers, would be to perform a lobotomy, right? We're going to remove part of your brain, or I don't know if we don't even know what part it is that you would remove or whatever. I mean, they try to give you drugs that affect that part of your brain or whatever, but um, it's not possible to remove triggers. And even if you could, that sends the brain a message of helplessness, right? If you get triggered, you're helpless, you're going to do it. So it's focusing on triggers, removing triggers is a lose-lose situation, because it's just not possible, because you're wired in. You could be walking through the woods, or whatever they're going to tell you to go, out in nature, whatever advice, drinking water, breathing, whatever. You could have a trigger because it's wired in your brain. It's like, I mean, certainly, yeah. If you're going to go on your computer and go to some sites and whatever, you're probably going to get triggered as well. But removing those triggers isn't going to eliminate the triggers that are wired into your neural pathways. Does that make sense?
Yeah. it's just wrong. It's the wrong way round as well, because like the idea of removing your triggers is all based on the idea that something external to you is dictating your actions. But the truth is, it's your choices which determines whether you end up staying in the porn addiction or not. So the
Right.
idea of like removing your triggers is completely based in helplessness and the concept that something outside of your own choices will determine whether you relapse. But that isn't true. And like the only reason people believe that like removing their triggers is going to be useful is because they don't understand that when you're in the addiction, you look for reasons to engage in the behavior. And so what happens is people relapse and then they associate the relapse with maybe like some stress or that they saw a sexual thing on Instagram or whatever it is. And then they make up this idea that, oh, I relapsed because of the model on Instagram. I relapsed because of the stress. So that means I
Yeah.
need to remove that trigger. But that isn't the way to do it, because what's going on there is you're just creating this idea in your mind, which is false. You know, it isn't the Instagram model that causes you to relapse. It's the inability to deal with that compulsive desire when you see the Instagram model, which you've
Yeah.
probably looked at because you had the compulsive desire to scroll on Instagram in the first place. And that was all part of the addiction anyway. But
Yeah.
that's the problem, you know?
Yeah. And I'm sure too that they're going to connect, removing triggers to removing stress from your life, right? Or if you don't get, have any stress or do stress management or whatever, then you're not going to get triggered. It's just so not true, because like the addictive part of the mind will take any stress. Like I was just working with a guy the other night who was having some real family, drama stuff going on, really challenging, emotional family stuff. Had nothing to do with his porn addiction, but the addictive part of the mind went, "Oh, stress. You're having this stress, so now you should go do porn," right? I mean, it's because they've made that association between, this is driven by stress when it's not. It's like stress is normal, and if you already have an addiction of any kind in your life, then you have some stress in your life, you might have desires, you might get triggered, but it's not because of that. So yeah, I'm sure she's going to talk about stress as well. We probably haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah.
As a
Well, I
trigger.
think
Yeah.
just another thing is like, once you've identified a trigger, okay, like what next? Like, how are you actually going to deal with that
Yeah.
desire? You know, that's the actual crux of this whole problem anyone
Yes.
ever has. It's the inability to deal with their own desires. That's the only problem. Like, to be quite straight,
Yeah,
that's
and
it.
and that validates it, right? It's like you the inability. So remove your triggers because you will be helpless because you are unable to deal with those desires. It validates that helplessness and basically gives you the thumbs up to go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
So
And it can
yeah,
also create some kind of feeling of resistance and shame around having the desires as well. Because
yeah,
if the whole goal is to not have desires, but you're going to have desires because your neural pathways have wired that way for 20 or 30 years or however long you've been watching porn, and neurons that fire together wire together, meaning that you
yeah,
have these neural pathways in your brain. But then you're told that it's like bad to have the desires and to remove the triggers, which are already in the
yeah,
mind anyway. Well, you're
yeah,
kind of fucked, because then you've got all this resistance and then you're just trying to battle yourself all the time, which is no good
yeah.
place to be.
And then you're like, okay, I've removed every trigger. I've made my list of 50 triggers I can remove, right? You remove every trigger. And then here you still want to do it. So you're going, oh my God, I'm just innately fucked up. I removed all the triggers and I still want to do it. So it must just be a part of me. So now I'm going to go get a diagnosis for my mental problem. Yeah.
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 Rather
Lose,
than
lose, lose, lose.
Exactly. Rather than
Yeah.
realizing that actually there's absolutely nothing wrong with you for having
Yeah.
desires, and your mind is going to come up with these rationalizations and excuses because of these neural pathways, how they're wired at this point in time, and knowing that all of that can be changed. Like, you
Yeah.
literally can experience the desire, get triggered by basically anything, and then respond to it in a really healthy, rational way. And obviously, you don't want to start going out of your way and like trying to get triggered on purpose. Like, that's just ridiculous. But at the same time, you want to live your life in a way where you can just live like free from this problem. And you're never really going to do that if you're just on this hamster wheel, this treadmill of indefinitely identifying triggers and trying to remove them, which isn't really very reasonable in modern day
Yeah.
society.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting. One of the guys posted in school today that what we're doing here is infinitely sustainable. He says this is really the only thing that is like infinitely sustainable. Yeah, you can't just, well, there'll be a new trigger, then this, and then change this, and then do this, and it's just like the hamster wheel, like you said, just keep going and going and going and going, rather than addressing the urges that are going to come up. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All
Yeah.
right, let's play another clip then.
Yeah. That's
Recognize that porn has many forms and make a decision to eliminate all of them from your life for at least 6 months. Whatever program you use on your PC, on your mobile device, have somebody else install it and set it up. You can work with them to install it and set it up if you want, but they need to be the one with the password, not you. If you have the password, then it kind of defeats your purpose. It slows you down from reaccessing it, but you're still able to access it. Give them the password.
why are you even going to set it up? If the idea is removing it, why are you going to have somebody else set it up and then give them the password? It just is.
So I looked into this a bit because I was really confused by it at first, because I think in our like beyond compulsion universe, like the language we speak, the way we see the world, like this idea of setting up some kind of program, giving over a password, like it's just so absurd. Like it makes no sense to us, right? So I did get a bit of help on this one from ChatGPT to like prepare the podcast. So
My
I wanted
best
to kind
friend, not
yeah, but it was quite useful in this instance, right? So
good.
it helped to explain that what she's on about there is setting up a blockers program on your computer to block you from the porn, but you've got to get someone else to like set up the blocking software to block you,
Okay.
because if you have a password to the blocking software, then you're going to obviously uninstall it, whatever, right? So that's the idea there, is just like block everything.
Well, wait, how you block everything? I mean, isn't there just a bajillion ways to get up porn? I mean, so you're going to, I don't know. I guess maybe you can go to that urologist and get the ultra blocking software. I don't know, Tom.
It gets pretty wild as well in that passage.
Yeah.
You know what she
Yeah.
starts to say? She starts like suggesting certain alternatives to like Netflix, for example, like certain TV and like film subscription sites where you can like basically watch like non-sexual content based films. And like I'm not gonna lie, some of these websites were kind of weird as well. Like they seem so like just, I don't know, hard to explain, like just so artificial, like made for a very specific audience. And if you want to live your life like that, like go ahead, but it's going to be very hard to function as like a everyday person in society, like watching TV series that no one else watches, like watching films that no one else watches because you're too scared of going on Netflix in case you see someone in like a bikini or whatever it is.
I just watched a making of The Golden Girls, which is one of the most popular shows ever, about these three older women that live together. And then there's like the mom who's like really old. And it's just, there's the one woman, I think her name's Blanche, who's just like, she's constantly talking about sex, and it's just like the Golden Girls, it's that kind of stuff is everywhere. Like, what are you going to access that is going to be, I don't know. I mean, even Gilligan's Island, whatever, everything has some sexual connotation, sexual innuendo, whatever. I don't know. It's so based in helplessness. I mean, okay, just like we're just going to put you in a cave with, all you have is rocks or, I don't know. And I don't know, we'll throw some food in there every now and then. It's absurd. But what is more absurd is the millions of people that are subscribing to this bullshit, That is what is so absurd. And you want to know it, I don't even want to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm not going to apologize, that's for sure. It's like, how stupid are you people? It's like, come on. It makes me like a little worried of the world we live in with the level of stupidity, I'm just like, good Lord. Anyway.
Wait till we get to the last two clips. It gets crazier. It gets so crazy.
Okay.
Oh my God. And the mad thing is, like, 500,000 plus people have watched this video. Like, it is so absurd. And yeah, it's just no way to live. But let's go into the analysis of it a little bit first, right? So, I feel like we've kind of explained it a bit with the removing triggers thing, but a lot of people listening, they probably have like covenant eyes or some blocker, right now. Not everyone. I feel like if you've been around here for a while, you're probably way past that now. But if you're new to this, you may have some blockers in place. So let's explore like why are blockers just a terrible idea overall for porn addiction recovery?
Why is it a terrible idea? Because it won't work for starters. Because, I mean, well, it's going to create more desire. It's going to create feelings of deprivation. Oh my God, I can't do it. She was even talking about the chastity cage. Blocking your own self. Your own junk from your own self. It's like it's just. I mean, I don't even know what to say about it anymore, other than creating feelings of deprivation. But even that, just the ridiculousness of trying to block yourself from something, it's not really possible to do. You can have the idea that you're going to do it, but it's just not possible. So
Mm.
why does it keep going back there? Everything is blockers, blockers, blockers. It's not possible unless you're going to lock somebody up. You can't block, and kids especially. It's like that's the whole thing with kids, to keep the kids from doing it, right?
Yeah.
I don't
Can
know.
I
Do you
explain
have
this a bit
anything
further?
else you can illuminate that about
Yeah, yeah.
blockers, that they're just
I,
not, they just don't work. Period.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like because obviously you've worked in addiction recovery like 36 years, right? Like you've been
Yeah.
teaching this forever, right? And obviously I've worked with you now for a while, so I fully get this. But I think just for anyone who's like super, super new to the podcast, you probably get exactly why Mary's saying all this as well. But I want to try to explain it in like the most simple terms possible.
You go.
A blocker is just this socially constructed device to make you feel like you can't consume porn. But that isn't true. Like that will never ever be true for you. There will always for the rest of your life be a way to watch porn. Because even if you have a blocker on your phone or your laptop, there's gonna be ways, one, to get around it. Two, you could just like go and buy a new phone or a new laptop or whatever. You could probably go to, I don't know, some place and access the porn elsewhere. You could I don't know, you could go and have sex with a prostitute. You could do, and I'm not saying any of the things are okay. I don't like that sex sells so much and it's everywhere on the internet. I think it's pretty messed up. But that doesn't mean I'm going to try to restrict my access to like the internet or block myself from everything there, because this problem isn't going on externally. This problem isn't something out in society. It's due to the demands that takes place in the minds of people. It's all
Yeah.
happening in our minds. And this idea that you can't watch porn is bullshit. That is not
Yeah.
true. You will never be deprived of porn. You
You
can
know,
watch porn.
you reminded me, because you talked about other addictions in my work going back 36 years. I remember Patricia used to be like, people say, well, I can't smoke because whatever. She's like, what is somebody gonna, like, every time you try to like leave your house, or maybe you're gonna go to the convenience store to get cigarettes, there's gonna be someone who's gonna follow you around with a club and like bash you in the head and knock you out. I mean, that's what the extreme would be like. There's just no way we can make it so that if you have a desire to smoke and you can change your mind, you can get in your car. There's a convenience store on every corner. I mean, nobody's going to chase you around with a club and knock you out. I mean, that's how extreme you have to get to make the analogy to show people you have a choice about this. No one's chasing you around and knocking you out, to keep you from doing it. And no one's going to do that with the pornography on the computer or on the phone or
Yeah.
whatever.
And then back to our first point is because of how the neural pathways are wired, you're going to have this desire. So you are going to have this wanting. But if you install the blockers and have this false belief that you now can't watch porn, you're just going to feel terrible, because now you've got this thing that you want to do that you feel like you can't do, which isn't even
Yeah.
true anyway. So now you've got even
Yeah.
more resistance leading to even
Yeah.
more desire. So now you're in a
Yes.
way worse situation than before you ever even
Yeah.
installed the blockers.
Right. You start now your feeling state, you start reacting to something that's not true, that you can't do it. So now there's the whole reaction to that, which adds a whole nother level of feeling like shit, right? When that's not even true. So we can, bypass that and then get on to, yeah, there will be some discomfort in the
Yeah.
withdrawal process and changing the neural pathways. But why add to it a bunch of really awful negative feelings that are created by incorrect thinking, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And like
yeah,
for me personally, like why I'm so passionate about this is because I listened to all this bullshit advice and it honestly just made my porn addiction 10 times worse. Like, this is exactly the sort of shit that led to me no longer choosing to go on a porn site, but then convincing myself it was okay to look at the most degenerate shit I could find on platforms like
Yeah.
X and Instagram. Because it's
Yes.
like, oh, well, I'm blocked from porn now, but Instagram's fine. And then you just end up down an absolute rabbit hole looking at, yeah, I mean, it just gets bad very, very quickly. And we've heard some, I mean, we're obviously not going to share them, but we have heard some pretty extreme stories from our clients who have had blockers on in the past, and like the lengths that people go to try and get out of those feelings of deprivation and access to the porn get pretty crazy, like very fast as well. And we've heard
Yeah.
some mad stories, and they would never have ended up there if they hadn't have put the blockers on to begin with, because then they wouldn't have had to go down these like extreme routes to try and get the porn.
And then they
Yeah.
end up beating themselves up, full on self deprecation, full on what's wrong with me, and then into therapy. And now they're mentally ill, now they're diagnosed with a mental illness. So it's really sad, I know this absurd advice, we laugh about it, because we kind of have to a certain extent, but it's so damaging. Like you say, why you're passionate about it is because it made it worse for you in the past. It's very damaging. So anyone out there who is listening to the BS, just stop. Just stop.
Yeah, yeah. And I think as well, like, you will know for yourself, like, what is true and what's bullshit and what's going to help you and what isn't going to help you. And so, if there's stuff we're saying that you disagree with, like, obviously you can disagree with it. But what I would
Yeah.
just really recommend to anyone is to think about everything when it comes to addiction recovery quite critically. I mean, you don't need to overanalyze every single thing, but like my mistake in the past was just like having a blind eye to the misinformation and just like passively consuming these supposed experts' advice and just believing because they had some authority on YouTube in the fact that they had like 500k subscribers, or well, this woman actually has 800,000 plus subscribers.
And
I
she's a
believe like,
doctor. She's a
yeah,
doctor. Yeah.
and she says a lot, a doctor. I don't know if she's a legit doctor, maybe she is, but anyway,
Called herself doctor somebody. I don't know.
I
Doctor.
think she is a doctor then, yeah,
Yeah, I
probably.
think so too. Yeah.
But you obviously gonna think, oh, well, that person's maybe like the person to listen to then. But
Yeah.
like when you zoom out and you have the right education and you're living within a different paradigm and everything changes, you're like, what the hell are these people on about? And like
Yeah.
we've had voice notes today from clients just saying the exact same thing because they're now in this different paradigm entirely as well. And they're like, oh my God, like what was this woman talking about? Like that is just so crazy. But yeah, let's get into another clip.
Yeah. Let's.
So distraction, you can exercise, take that energy and put it into something else. Call a friend. You can also use guided imagery just to go to your happy place. That's another option. Ice can be really helpful for sensations, whether it's an ice pack to, cool off the physical sensations, or holding a couple of ice cubes, or putting your hands in a bath of ice water. That will distract you. You will not be thinking about porn or sex or anything else if you have your hands in a bath of ice water.
It
What
just
cracks
gets
me up.
more ludicrous. It just gets more and more ludicrous. I mean, maybe I hope that people tune into this and watch a minute and go, okay, fuck this, but I'm sure, I mean, I assume they were watching it all the way through. But my God, just put your hands in ice water, seriously, to distract yourself. I just like can't even. I can't even. I mean, do you have anything to comment on that? Because I'm just like, I mean, my eyes are stuck rolling in my head at this point,
Do you want to hear a more funny one? Like this one is
Yeah.
even
Let's go.
worse.
Come on, let's do it.
Smells. Now, a lot of times I talk about happy smells, relaxing smells, those kinds of smells. But in this particular case, noxious smells usually work best. And I don't mean
Oh
poison.
my God.
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. I mean something like rotten eggs or a essential oil that you really don't like the smell of. Smelling that is enough to kind of make you go, oh, no, gosh. And it gets you in a completely different frame of mind. It shocks you out of that thought process that you were having and into a different one.
You know, I want to take some dog shit and put it in her face and say, you know, maybe it can get you out of this frame of mind that you're in, lady. Good God, you're going to smell like terrible rotten eggs. Oh my God. Wow. I just can't, again, I can't even. I mean, this is like where I've like, if there's a million people listening to this, I can't, my faith in humanity is gone. It's like, well, at least those million people. Oh gosh, just smell it.
Right. Let's just think this one through, right? Let's think
Yeah,
this one
yeah.
through, okay?
Okay.
So imagine you're in a relationship, you live with your girlfriend, and you're struggling with porn addiction because it's very hard to overcome this problem. It's everywhere. You know, you are susceptible to porn addiction by, you know, getting involved in this at a very young age, like myself, probably like 11 or 12 years old or something. So you develop these addictive neural pathways. And the problem's now in your mind. You have these desires. You don't know what to do with these desires. You go on YouTube, you're trying to find some advice. You look around for a bit and nothing's really working. The problem's getting worse. You end up on this video in particular, and she's talking about rotting eggs. So what you decide to do, you get some eggs, and maybe, I don't even know how to rot eggs. Does that just happen naturally then over time, I'm
It takes a
guessing?
very
Right?
long time for eggs to rot. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So like what you do is you get these eggs and you just leave them maybe in a corner of your apartment. Now your girlfriend's asking you, hey, like, what are you doing with those eggs? Like, why don't you put them in the bin? You're like, wait, hold up. I've got this porn addiction right now, so I'm just working on something. Like, just let the cooks, like, let the eggs just stay there for a bit, all right? Like, don't worry about the eggs. Trust me, I got a strategy. It's going to be awesome. Like, your girlfriend's going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, she's not going to take that. And, oh
I
man,
am
it's just
having God.
absolutely mental. Like,
God.
it's such bad advice. It's such
Oh,
bad
God.
advice,
That's
honestly.
probably that might be the worst I've heard. You know,
Nah, it's not even. The
don't
next one's
smell
worse.
something good that to distract yourself. Make sure it's something noxious. You know, the worse the smell, the better. You know. Yeah. Oh
It's just
God.
so far from it. Like, it's so far from the actual problem, which is certain thought patterns and like changing, you know, how you think, which has nothing to do with having a rotten egg or any other
And
smell. Like, it's just so
and
far
like
from it.
how helpless must you be if the only way to deal with your thought or your desire is to smell some dog shit? You know, it's like, oh, God.
Yeah,
Oh my goodness, it's yeah.
right.
Boy, she should be banned
It's
or do
bad, isn't
something
it?
else or do some doctoring stuff. You know,
I
do
think this
something
is the
else.
problem when you have so I was thinking about an analogy for this earlier, but can you imagine a restaurant, right, that served like chicken, pizza, let's say fajitas, chili, and Italian foods. Well, that's kind of pizza as well, right? Okay, this is going to probably end up being a bad analogy. Give me some more food examples, Mary. Burgers. We'll go burgers. We'll go pasta, although that's also Italian.
Food, pad
Thai
thai,
food.
Thai food,
Okay.
Chinese food.
Chinese
Um,
food.
yeah,
Yeah.
Indian
Indian.
food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right. Now,
yep,
okay. So this restaurant's serving like all these different dishes, and I know you get some good buffet restaurants actually that do serve like a load of different stuff. But imagine you're trying to serve up like every single item of food that you possibly can do. That's what like people like this are like on YouTube. Is like they have no specialist thing that they deal with very exclusively and like that they're actually like a master of, like that they understand like the problem in depth. So what they're doing is they're just applying like a bit of a random skill set, maybe across like 500 different subjects that she's interested in,
yeah,
taking random bits of information from the internet and then just regurgitating out all this like bullshit and then just trying to take like some ideas from other areas that maybe she's come across or different practices that have worked for different things and then just like,
yeah.
you know, pushing out there to the world. But there's no real thought, like
Right.
no real effort has gone into any of this. Like there's nothing actually that valuable here. Like there's nothing where you're actually going to change the way you think and feel more empowered about your choices and feel more in control of yourself. Everything is just nonsense. Like it's so bad. And what you really want with education, in my opinion, anyway, is you want to go to people who are specialists, like the restaurant that just specialize in creating the best
Yeah.
pizzas, or they just do the
You
best
know,
Indians. They're so much better.
it's interesting that you say that because, like, if there's a Thai restaurant that serves Thai, Chinese, Vietnamese, I'm like, no. If I want Vietnamese, I'm going to go to the Vietnamese restaurant. If I want Chinese, I'm going Chinese restaurant. I want Thai, I'm going to the Thai restaurant. Or like Chinese American. No, not going to these restaurants. I want the one that just totally specializes in the cuisine from their country. You know what I mean? So, because it's very different. But there was something else I was going to say. Oh, so like, because I mean, she's a doctor, right? And then we have the other lady who's like the urologist, right? The urologist, she has a specialty. And I think she kind of probably got involved in this because guys maybe are going to her with erectile dysfunction. They end up having a porn addiction, you know. But this other, I think this chick is just a MD. I don't know what she is, but I don't even care. But the thing is with so many people unwell in addictions and porn addictions, you're unwell, you go to the doctor, you know. So she sees all this unwellness and it's like, oh, look at all this unwellness. Well, maybe I better start gathering a bunch of bullshit from the internet and spewing it
Yeah,
forth, you know, rather than,
exactly.
just because she's probably, maybe she might just be like a GP, you know, where she deals with all kinds of unwellness, you know, and
Yeah.
then I'm certain they come across so many people that are addicted. Obviously, they're trying to deal with all the obesity. You know, all these people are addicted. And they're throwing a bunch of crazy shit at that. You know, but they would tell you the same bullshit if you had a food compulsion. Stick your hands in cold water to distract yourself when you want to eat out of control. You know, they tell people to get in a whole bath of ice. You know, to slow their metabolism. And I mean, that wasn't a distraction technique, but it's the same thing. You know, it's just insane, really, like insane. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. No, it honestly is. And I think the other thing is just like the whole like belief system around addiction is just so based in helplessness, because at
Yeah.
the very top of it, like at the roots of it all, is this misconception that it's like a disease, like that you're going to have
Yes.
these desires that you're going to get out of control for the rest of your life, and like you're an
Yeah.
addict for life, which
Yeah.
is just bullshit. Like, if you have the right education and you have the right tools, like anyone can stop this behavior for life and like never worry about it again. Like, we see
Yeah.
this day in, day out. We did a group call last night. 10 guys, everyone's good. Literally
Yeah. Yeah.
100% of the guys on the group call are like private and like we're
Yeah.
all sharing it, right? And then like, I post about this woman in school today and the guys are like kind of commenting about how ridiculous it all is. And
Yeah.
that's
They get it.
possible, but
Yeah.
you,
They
you've
get
got
it.
to you've got to understand this problem properly. And like, you don't need to necessarily have gone through addiction, but I think it can help a little bit. And it doesn't have to be porn addiction, but I think just to understand that when you're in addiction, you have certain thought patterns, and there's the addicted part of the mind is just going to say the most ridiculous stuff to try and get you to relapse. And those thoughts keep on coming back and coming back and coming back until they're dealt with. And that's why things like distractions, or holding a rotten egg in front of your nose when you've got an erection, it isn't going to work. It's
Yeah.
just not going to work, because the thoughts and the desires keep coming back until it's dealt with directly. And that's the
Uh,
whole problem. And that's what we
uh,
work on changing for people. It's so mad.
yeah. Is
Right.
there,
I
do we
could
have
go
more?
on.
Do we have more of her?
Final one, final one. Well, this one's the one I already showed you like earlier today. Like, I posted about this one in school
Yeah.
because it was the
I
most
want to, I want
ridiculous
to
one.
see the actual one about the shower situation. Yeah.
Other tips. Wear a bathing suit in the shower and re-aim the water if the stimulation on your genitals is too triggering for you. And that has come up with several of my clients, both male and female. So that is one option. Obviously, you still need to wash, but avoiding excessive stimulation can help reduce the frequency of having those urges and compulsive thoughts.
Okay, so she at least did address you still need to wash, because that's what I was like. You're wearing a bathing suit and you can't point the water at your genitals. Well, okay, no stimulation. How are you going to wash? You got to wash that stuff, you know? It's like that's the whole
Yeah.
point of the shower. But again, it's just helplessness, you know? It's like, oh gosh, it just gets more and more ludicrous, doesn't it?
I think it was like what one of our clients today was like sending us a voice note about this one. And I
Yeah, I
kind of
listened to it
stole
this morning. I was laughing so hard.
I stole the kind of idea about the girlfriend a bit from him. But that's what he was saying, is he was saying like with his fiance, like if he bought a bathing suit to try deal with an addiction, like his fiance would be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, why are you taking a bathing suit into the shower every day? Like, it's just
Yeah,
such a crazy thing to do. Like, it's so impractical. It's so ridiculous. It's so based in helplessness. And you're just basically brainwashing yourself into believing that you're helpless and that you don't have control over
yeah,
yourself. You're just reinforcing those faulty belief patterns, like those thoughts, which are keeping you stuck. So I can almost guarantee if someone was to actually get rotten eggs, get bathing suits,
yeah,
install blockers, do all this dumb shit, can almost guarantee that your addiction is going to get worse. Like, it's
yeah,
not neutral either. It's not like, oh, this isn't great advice. Oh, it's not
yeah,
exactly going to solve your addiction. It's like, this is literally the stuff that compounds the helpless thought patterns that keep you relapsing over and over and over. And that's why
yeah,
it's got to get called out, because it's bullshit. It's just
yeah. It's
complete
complete.
bullshit.
Yeah, so like you're gonna be in the shower with a bathing suit, and then maybe you could throw a rotten egg in there. It'll heat up nice, get really, and maybe you can get a bowl of ice too, and just sit there and in the shower, and then his fiance is gonna come in there and be like, "Dude, you are flat out nuts. I'm out." We should get a drawing, make a little drawing of a guy in the shower with his swimming suit on, with his bathing suit,
Yeah.
hands in ice with a rotten egg festering in the corner.
What an image. What an image. That's where we're at in
Oh,
2026. Well,
yeah,
2025, actually, ladies and
yeah, yeah,
gentlemen. Right. That's
yeah,
insane. Absolutely
yeah,
insane.
yeah.
Okay. Let's let's wrap up here.
Yeah, I think we
Thank you,
beat it to
Mary.
death.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for being a voice of reason in my life and getting me out of this mess. Because Jesus Christ, if I hadn't have found you, I'd be there in the shower with the egg, with the ice. I don't know where I'd be without you. So thank God I found you. All right,
Yeah,
cheers for listening. Hopefully this shares a different perspective. If you want to learn how to stop watching porn, then go and join the Beyond Compulsion Academy. Cheers.
yeah.
See you later. Bye.
Good.